Hi, yes, hello. Welcome to the Place of Wrath and Tears, recorded live in front of an undying studio audience. They don't get to leave until they laugh. Tonight's game is going to be recorded because we are making schedules work, but I am not at all upset about it. First of all, just to let you know, in case you're new, I hope we have some new people. This is a KULT Divinity Lost live-action roleplay. It is set in 1957 Las Vegas. We have a lot of heavy themes. So many. So please be careful, enjoy responsibly. And once again, please look at the screen and be in awe of our fifth man, Curtis, who does beautiful, beautiful design work, and you should hire him for all of your jobs. He is just the literal best, and we are so thankful for him. So where we're going to start tonight is finally we are going to have the knighting ceremony of David or Davids, depending on your mood. And that's going to be a hell of an experience. That's actually a good question. Okay. The question that was quietly asked is, what is David's full name? And the answer is several.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So I think, are we ready to get go? Does anybody want to say anything before we start?
So?
I'm good.
I'm going to make sure I have my sheet up just in case I need to look at it for anything.
That's fine. So just a little while ago, some vague number of days ago, David killed a Razide, and David did it with his own damn hands, and it was brutal, but it was also a display of power. And in that moment, Matthew Van Horst told David that he was proud of him and that he could not ask for a better servant. And David, for the first time in the history of his service to the Van Horsts, expressed an emotion and yea verily demanded that he be knighted. And the realization of that shook the Van Horsts a little bit, that David would have such a strong thought about that. And so the last thing that happened to my memory was that we had a little interview with David and found out about what exactly he did while the Van Horsts were on vacation. The answer is trauma. The answer is 7 straight episodes of trauma. If you'd like to hear more, go find the Red Intermission, available on YouTube or on Twitch. It's extremely good. So where we are going to go tonight is the knighting of the Davids. And so where we are going to start is are we in the hotel? Or do you want to do this in the hotel or somewhere else?
I think the hotel.
Okay. Do you want to do it in the room, or did you want to rent out one of the larger meeting rooms?
There's something intimate about having it in the room, I think. This is the place that we meet. This is the place that we are in secret. The rest of the hotel feels like it's Mac's place. This is our place.
Okay. Can't argue with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll have David and the people that are helping him get ready in David's room for the space.
Yeah.
That works.
And so David, for all of his inhumanity, has gone through a considerable humane production. He has shaved, and so he has gone through, and he is a cup and lather kind of guy, and a straight razor, shocking no one. So he has very carefully shaved his illusory face and very carefully combed his illusory hair, and done what could be the most thorough of grooming that generally any American male would do in 1957. He has done. So he is.
Does he have a dress uniform left from his time serving that is in his closet here?
Would you like him to have one? That's not a critical decision that I ever made. Do you think that would be an interesting thing for him to have?
Yeah, because I think Clara's going to pull out his dress uniform and his very, very best, white tux. The 2 highest dressed essentials that any high society man and servant should have, and then kind of, while he's finishing shaving, turn to Bethany and be like, this is of the illusion, but it's of service and of war. This is also of the illusion, and it's of prestige and of our family. Or neither of them. What do you think?
Bethany considers, because she's also been thinking about this question and remembering like the esoteric robes of the Phoenix Society that we've seen, and immediately throwing those out because that is just the wrong fashion and flavor. And is torn, not the tux, because that is not what we use David for. That is not his uniform. That is not how he is useful to us. And that is not a thing that she considers David would be comfortable in. And if we are binding him to Matthew to be a servant, to be a knight, to be, he should be dressed in a way that makes him feel comfortable about his work, because that's what we're essentially binding him for and as. And what he's asked for is we took him out to do the work of a murder, and he asked after to be knighted, and that is the work he does. And so she's considering either his war uniform or what he wears every day, his nicest, cleanest, everyday workwear. Is what is the thing that makes him feel most like a knight? And so she takes the tux out and puts it back in the closet and pulls out also his dry cleaned clothes, regular clothes from the hotel, and hands that one to Claire and say, either this or that, you decide, or ask him.
We should ask him. We trust him as a knight, not to be unthinking.
David?
Ma'am.
Which would you prefer?
And Claire holds both up.
It is clear that when David turned around, he was not expecting to see his uniform. And so there is a visible kind of something that happens inside him, kind of like a very brief piece of like drift. You know, you can kind of see him go away a little bit and then reel himself back in. Like it was one of those like, oh, I wasn't ready for that physical totem of my memories to be right there. And he says, the uniform is the right answer, but I need to make some changes. It won't take long.
Of course.
Of course.
And David takes out a cute little penknife, you know, just one of those nice little, Jesus, how sharp is David's penknife? Penknife, and very carefully removes every single marking from the uniform.
Mm-hmm.
He removes his various honor markings. He removes unit badges. He removes the American flag. He removes everything, including the name that is on there that says David St. John, which is not the name he gave, but we all know why now. And puts it down, and then thinks about it for a minute and and very gently but firmly, oh, camera, come on. Very gently but firmly into the wool, he cuts the V and the H of the family crest above his breast. And then
We'll
he
have
put
it tailored properly when this is over.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And he slowly starts to put it on. I mean, he excuses himself for a moment to change the pants and to be polite because that is who David is. But when he comes back out, he is, he has the jacket slung over his arm and he is buttoning up his shirt. And there is a brief second where the two Van Horsts in the room can see a younger human David before he was shipped off to Korea, before he was broken. A young, dedicated man going to make his family proud, wearing this uniform, buttoning it up before they left, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that isn't him.
Clara has sat herself down and taken his shoes, and she is shining them very carefully, very respectfully. Not generally a thing a Clara does, but a show of helping him prepare. It is her moment of being a handmaiden here.
Bethany is arranging oils, scented oils, amber, very masculine scents, but she is preparing them with ritualistic hand signs. She is checking a book about this because this is not the way that she does magical things, but so she has over on his dresser there is a makeshift little candle and heating and aromatic oils thing, and her tracing a sigil that she sees in a book right here, and doing this preparatory making of these oils to anoint David with before they take him out to Matthew to mark him more as their own.
I love the way how the scene feels like half of maybe a wedding and half of a sacrifice. This could easily be a life bonding, or this could very easily be the fatted calf. And I love, and that's perfect. The Van Horst has seen David go on several face journeys over the time that he has been here. He got cold and hard. Come on, camera. There you go. He got cold and hard over the experiences he had in Las Vegas. He dehumanized very quickly while he was here under the stress. But for a while, he was just kind of a young man, lying to himself about the wreckage that he hid underneath an illusion. And so you did get to see the occasional face journey, especially at the very beginning, where he hadn't quite gotten everybody's habits down. And so what you have all seen, you haven't seen it for a while, but that look of oh no, that full body, shoulders up, eyebrows up to here, oh no, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh no, oh no, oh fuck. And that face for a second is pointed at Clara, shining his shoes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you can hear his blood pressure go up. Not in a cute way, not in a fun way, but in a my boss is shining my shoes and this is a direct violation of the natural order. And he takes a step forward and holds his hands out and then visibly contains himself because he understands what it is.
Mhm.
And awkwardly but gratefully does like incline his head in thanks.
You have been chosen, David. While that woman was the first experiment, you are the first conscious choice to be among our ranks. You understand that?
I do now, ma'am, yes. I didn't like the way it made me feel at the time, but I have learned better.
You are the honored one, the treasured one, the one who will stand first in line, who will bear our crest first, who will carry our banners, who will honor our name. This is a privilege and a gift like none other Matthew has ever given. And Bethany knows how to prepare you better. I don't know how to do anything.
Sit for me, please, David. Bethany interrupts her sister.
Very thankful for that lifesaver. David is not stupid, and David has a good sense, and he sees how upset Clara is, and she can see him open his mouth in some dumbass attempt to make it better. And in that moment, Bethany says, "David, come over here and sit." David, before she stabs you with a brush, please come over here.
Come over here, please. And the
look on his face as he stands up, though, is it depends on how Clara wants to interpret it in the moment, but it is either a like I don't think you get it face, but it's either a like, you think I'm becoming your equal and I'm just becoming a different servant. Like, you could look at it that way, or you could definitely look at it in a way of like, you don't know what's happening here, depending on her mood. But it was probably meant to be kind. Mm-hmm. But, David's facial messaging is not always on point.
Shines those shoes, gives them to Bethany. Shiny shoes.
Bethany takes David and she takes the oil and she dips her finger in it and she brushes away his hair, the front of his hair, and draws a sigil on his forehead. And because it's an oil, it's essentially clear, but stays on the surface of his skin. So when he moves slightly, the light will catch it. And then she draws 2 different sigils on the backs of his palms. She looks at Clara and realizes that David's shoes are not on him, and that's a problem because she's just like fixed him. And so
Clara catches the look and comes over and goes, "I know you're going to be uncomfortable about this, but Bethany just readied you. Let me help." And she kneels and very gently puts David's shoes on him.
In all of Clara's bohemian life, has she ever gone to a strip club? Do you think she's ever gone to it?
Absolutely. Okay. In New York, drunk, like after a cast party.
Have you ever, do you think that Clara has ever seen the abject physical horror of someone who should not be in a strip club getting a lap dance?
Probably. Is she saying that again?
That is the bones deep, just like absolute, just cosmic horror. Like, a Shuggoth could roll behind Clara at this point, and David would just be like, "Oh, thank God, something that makes sense."
Okay. I want to roll something. I want to roll influence other.
Or do you want to roll keep it together? Are you trying to affect David, or are you trying to keep Clara under locks?
David.
Okay.
I'm trying to affect David because Clara looks up at him in this moment, and she's in her beautiful white dress and her diamonds and is looking gorgeous. Like the way that she is knelt, her dress is pulled out around her and her hair is down and long, and everything she's doing is elegant. And while it is a kneeling position and she is putting shoes on him, it is not a supplicant position. There is never a single thing that Clara Van Horst does, except to Matthew, that is supplicating. This is a moment of honor and grace and drawing David into her beauty. And when he looks so disgusted, she kind of looks up at him and slides this shuga on and is like, this is the start of a story. This is the start of a dance, David. The beginning of something beautiful. I'm not doing this because I think that you are turning into my better. I'm doing this in a moment of honor for both of us. For my family and now yours.
It was not disgust. It was fundamental discomfort.
Yeah.
It was a very neutral, recognizing the absolute wrongness of the moment sort of thing. Although, with Clara's mood, she could easily have said that anyway. I just didn't want you to think that David was disgusted at the idea of physical contact.
No, disgust was the wrong word. Discomfort. She is trying to look up to him and do that actor thing that people do, which is lock eyes and take a deep breath and let it out and inspire someone to be in a moment with them.
Yeah, roll it.
To embrace this moment.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. Okay, that's not gonna be the worst. I rolled an 8 and my charisma is 4. So, no, it's only 3. That's still an 11 for influence other.
It's so not a 9.
Not a 9, yeah.
If you can get one of these Bible editions of the book, y'all buy it. It's so good.
Ooh. Pretty.
Have you not seen that?
No.
I haven't. Nice.
Look at my cute little Bible edition.
It's very pretty.
With gilt pages and everything.
It's very, very Bible.
I like that a lot.
I like it a lot.
Very pretty.
She does what you ask, but they do what you ask, but the GM chooses one. They demand better compensation. Complications will arise at a future time. She gives in for the moment, but will change her mind and regret it later.
This is a whole bunch of flavor text I'm doing, but...
No, it's great.
I like it.
I'd like to present the idea that David notices the underlying envy. That the kind of you motherfucker, you better appreciate this. That little bit of that anger that's in behind her eyes. And he notices that. And that's not something that
because she's
David
being raw and honest with him, but she's also being beautiful about it. And this is a passionate moment, and she's opening up to the come into our world, come into my beauty.
Mm-hmm.
You smell good and you look perfect and you are dressed for this stage and you are dressed to be presented. Own it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he nods once shakily and then understands what you said and doesn't say anything because he thinks he's going to say something stupid if he opens his mouth. But he does like nod, make a little genuflection, and then seem to get his head screwed on the rest of the way.
She then finishes tying the shoe, stands up, gives him a tip of her head, and then steps back and gives Bethany the stage.
Bethany looks and makes sure that the oil on his hands aren't smudged at all, which is why he couldn't put on his own shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And his head, and like goes and like consults the book and makes sure the markings are correct, because this is not how she does magical bullshit. So make sure that he's there and ready and presentable, and looks at Clara and goes, I think he's ready.
Is there a cleansing of spirit, a focus of anything he needs to do? I can get him or you ready for the stage anytime or any day, but for a magical change, I don't know.
Okay. Bethany would then like to also make a roll.
Okay. I love it. Roll dice.
I'll roll dice. Let me find the moves, because that's what I want about it. Oh, this is not the sheet I want. Sorry, guys. 1 second. I needed that PDF. There we go. So I want... I want to roll magical intuition.
Okay.
It's, again, mostly flavored, but that's what she would do to, like, since it's the aura thing, to go like look at David's soul situation and find out if he's ready for this. Okay, and I rolled a 14 and my soul is +4. So that's an 18.
So it's a lot as usual.
Yeah. She is good at a thing.
Good at several.
She is. She's geared several things to think she's good at.
So learn something about a creature's true nature, learn if something has a magical nature, or learn where the illusion is weakest.
I think it's going to be a true nature thing, which is less about like David is a, angel war machine, etc., and more about David is ready to do this and like bind himself to the Van Horst no matter what it means, and in a way of taking care, because she's remembering Sophia, their momster, and Jacob, who hated it, and how they were bound without will and decision, and how they were bound specifically, and how whether or not they had any ability to agree to anything, they certainly didn't. Like, Jacob was angry about it, and Sophia very specifically was like, I want to finish what I have been bound to do, and I want to be released after that service is done, which is to you, the children. And so she is looking at his soul and his true nature to make sure that he is as ready as he can be to enter into this freely. Because he asked for this.
There are two layers of that. There is the layer of him that is a conscious being that is feeling all of the correct things. A little worried, very proud, what's going to happen, a little scared, all of those, like before a great big important life-changing experience. He's feeling that series of feelings. But behind that, there is a sense of a piece of unstruck coin. Like there is a shiny blank disc of Metropolis metal ready for Matthew to place his seal upon and strike. And it doesn't feel like it's not like there's something there and Matthew's going to bang on it till whatever's there is gone.
No, he's going to
that
stamp it.
David has made himself a thing to be marked.
Good.
Consciously.
Yeah. And so then Bethany will have done the aura reading and look at Clara and go, he's prepared himself already.
Then it is the time.
And Bethany gestures to the door for David that he will enter first, and that they will sort of flank him, coming out behind him.
David seems to have accepted the fact that things are not going to be normal tonight, and so does not raise a major stink. But he puts his hand on the door and he freezes in that statue still way that he does, and pauses. And says, I think Grandpa would be proud of all of us. And then turns the handle and walks out of the door. Over here making Elon emote.
Yep.
Oh.
Gotta get it all out. The room in where it is, like, so they walk out the door and I assume to the next door, to our room. Matthew, like, did go through a whole period of time where he also, like, almost was like, do I dress in robes like our father did? Do I, like, have this, like, Phoenix Society-esque stuff? Like, that's technically how they do, like, all these books that we have. Like, he'd been researching, he'd been, like, trying to figure out stuff, and he also absolutely discarded that idea because he is not what the Phoenix Society made him. He is what he is. And so he is standing there dressed as if he's, quite frankly, about to go into a board meeting. He is dressed in his suit. He is dressed in his tie. He is dressed with his family little tie clip. And he is every inch what his power is based in, aka capitalism. And there is a small burner that has been set up with a small flame. And next to it lies a knife. They are simply made. They are good Pittsburgh steel. They are not made of, like, special Metropolis metal. They're not anything like that. They're just what are his, what he knows, what his power comes from. And he is sitting, waiting for David to enter the room. And with the staff that they brought back from Metropolis, that horrible staff of authority full of vitriol across his leg. And for the first time, when they walk into the room, his focus isn't immediately on Clara. Like, this is perhaps the first time ever that there has been a situation in which the first person his eyes went to wasn't immediately Clara when she walked into the room with a group of people. It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's fine. She understands. It's fine.
And he is perhaps uncomfortably hyper-focused on David. And when they enter, he stands. And he will wait for David to break off from basically being flanked, essentially. And the first words that come out of his mouth are to David. And they are, do you come here of your own free will and desire?
David's voice holds a radio crackle somewhere between a walkie-talkie and a Geiger counter, and he says, I do so come here of my own free will.
Step forward and tell me your name.
He steps forward, and it is clear that there is something about that moment that is going to be difficult for him. And he says, my name is David. And at the same time, with two voices, he says St. John and Parker. Almost like throat singing.
I could roll for this if you wanted me to, but essentially assume that Matthew was using magical intuition just as a flavor aspect so that he can truly see David in this time. I don't think that this is really necessarily something that needs a roll, but just mentioning that he would be.
No, it's good.
David. Do you come here upon this day to pledge your fealty to myself and to the Van Horsts, which I represent?
I do so come here on this day to pledge my fealty to you and all that you represent.
Matthew picks up the knife, and when he picks it up, it's clear that he's not wearing his gloves. He picks it up in his left hand, his Metropolis hand, and he says, I will ask you to shed a great deal of blood over your time if you serve me, both yourself and yours and others. But I will not ask you to do so without shedding mine first. And he cuts himself across the wrist. It's light. It's across the wrist because Matthew actually knows that when you cut your palm, it's fucking hard to heal. Whereas a light cut across your wrist isn't going to actually heal badly. He knows enough about machinist injuries. And he cuts himself and he bleeds into the burner. And as that sort of blood smoke comes up, he says, do you pledge to abandon yourself, to be my hands, to be that which wields the sword and shield for the sake of myself and my family and what I represent?
As David says the next words, you can watch his illusion fall off, peeling like paint under a heat gun. And he says, I do so swear to abandon myself, to be your sword for everything in the service of all that you are and all that you represent.
Matthew sets down the knife, and he's holding the staff of authority in his right hand, the hand that is currently bleeding a bit onto the carpet. And he looks at David and he says, "Kneel before me."
And he does.
Matthew reaches out his left hand, not to David, but to the burner. And he holds the Metropolis hand over that flame until it is hot, smoking metal. And then once it is enough of that, and from my understanding, he feels through that hand. So and Matthew is not someone who is used to pain. So there is that sort of
level. But I love the vibe, so to work.
No, I'm just saying, there is a level of it is clear to anyone who is watching that this is difficult to keep his hand in that flame. It is an act of actual effort. And he walks forward and he places he uses the staff, instead of using it as a knighting motion, he taps the side of David's right arm. And he says, "Extend the hand that you wield your weapon with to me."
And he does, and his posture is the perfection of a Renaissance painting.
Matthew clasps his wrist in the way that the original handshake essentially was created. A warrior clasping another warrior's hand, essentially. And he clasps his wrist with the burning hand and sears that into his flesh. And he says, "I, Matthew Van Horst, hereby dub thee my knight, my sword, my shield, my hand. May your courage and devotion be the example that all will follow."
When you look at David's face, it takes a minute to recognize, but he is crying mercury tears of what can only be described as absolute contentment. Not of pain or of joy or of anything else, but there is a sense almost that he has finally clicked into place.
Can I add a tiny bit of flavor?
Yeah.
When Matthew clasps him with the burning hand, all of the anointment oils that Bethany had placed on him flash silver, flash that Metropolis silver, and then go back to being invisible. But you get this moment of it all illuminating.
I love it. Finally, after what seems to be, I think, probably hours for the two of them, but is actually moments, Matthew will use the hand that he is holding onto David with to pull him to his feet and say, "Rise then as my knight."
David rises, and in that moment, you can see that mandala of lethality flicker around him in iridescent razor blades. And it is no longer amalgams of human weapons, but it is now a perfect metropolitan circle around his body. Specifically, not like a royal sun disk, but the one that goes all the way down to the tailbone and elevates above the head.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not a statement of royalty, it is a statement of spiritual power. And so with quicksilver tears on his cheeks, he says, "Thank you, sir."
You earned this.
And David holds up the wrist that is now marked forever on his illusion as an already scarred burn. But you can also see the metropolitan silver on his body, and you can watch his armor start to incorporate it. And you can see little circuits of metropolitan silver start to work their way up and through, as if a new functionality has been added to David. And he says, "You earned this."
Matthew cannot help but smile at that. And there is a sense of deep satisfaction in that smile.
Yeah. And roll soul.
Okay. So that is, I rolled a 12, and so that is a 15.
Okay.
Yeah, because my soul's 3.
Matthew is filled with a profound capacity for violence.
Oh no.
It is not a impulse to violence.
Okay.
It is like 100 years of muscle memory just climbed inside your nerves and bones. And when you open your eyes again, everything in the room is contextualized as murder. You know exactly how much your staff of office weighs. You know exactly how far behind your head you'd have to start to wind up to break your sister's skull. You know exactly how many pounds of pressure you need to push into Clara's eyes. You know exactly the amount of strength it would take to snap David's neck. You don't think you could do it, but you think you could try. You know how to break the crystal glasses that you know are in the cupboard to turn them into throwable shards. You know how to slap the brazier to send fiery sparks everywhere, whether or not you want to throw fire or just make smoke.
I'm going to roll to keep it together.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a 12.
Okay, good.
I don't flip my shit.
Yeah. It is... It was manageable.
Yeah.
It didn't break you, But the thing that kind of puts you over the edge of I don't like this and I want it to stop is when you looked at Clara for support and all you knew was the amount of wind-up necessary to crush her xiphoid process with 2 fingers.
I'm going to go with I will be haunted by this experience at a later time.
Yes.
Because he's just like, oh God. So, yeah, he's like, fine, I'm fine. Well, I think that this deserves a drink and a celebration.
I think so too.
Champagne? And Clara waltzes over and does, pop the bottle of champagne. And I realize the sound of that is probably not going to be great for...
Oh no, it's terrible. But he's like, oh God, at least Clara's here. And I'm,
Yep.
It's complicated. He will take it, and by this point, I think that his hand has cooled because, like, Metropolis metal doesn't seem like something that's going to keep heat long. So I think it's like his hand. He actually does, though. You can tell, like, if they're looking at all, he actually touches his hand, his like normal hand, with his fingers before he does anything with his Metropolis hand, as if checking to make sure that it's not going to burn anyone, before he reaches out and gives Clara a kiss on the cheek and takes the champagne glass from her. And he will lift it to David and say, if you'd prefer ethanol, we can get some.
He laughs ruefully, and he says, "No, sir, thank you. I'll be able to taste the champagne."
Then let's get you some of that.
I think that
We're
is a
happy.
perfect time for us to take a break.
Yes, that's a good
And then
pause.
we can do the after party after our quick break.
Yeah.
So we will see you guys in a couple of minutes. All right, welcome back. We are going to continue on with our story, but what we are going to do is there's going to be a small time skip of literally only a few minutes where David very awkwardly attempts to make small contact with his bosses, small talk with his bosses. It works for 17 seconds. And then he very gently requests permission to return to his room and put away his uniform and things like that. In other words, dear God, please stop making me have unstructured social interactions with my owners. with the people I just swore to, and it like, no, thank you.
Yeah, like Matthew's very much like, yes, you can go. Like he knows that those lines are not great to be fuzzy.
Yeah,
on either
especially
side,
right
quite
now.
frankly. So he wouldn't try to be like, no, you're like part of the family. That's not really how he rolls. So he'd be like, yeah, no, you can go.
Let's be very aware. David is the favorite hunting hound.
Yeah.
But he doesn't sleep on the bed.
Yeah. That's not how that roll.
Yeah.
No. But as David's proximity leaves, the thing that you do get, Matthew, is that the universal annihilation information starts to fade.
Oh, how nice.
But you can... Oh. Oh, jeez. But you can absolutely feel where... you can feel two things. One, you know where David is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you spent a minute thinking about it, you could probably get a general sense of what he's doing.
That's not creepy at all.
No, it's this. None of this is healthy. You want power, not health. And
KULT.
and the other thing is that you can almost feel where that murder knowledge lives.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like you can reach out to David and pull a piece of him into you.
Yep.
Like he is so tightly connected to you that now you can call on his expertise, which is what you do with David, but you can call on his expertise internally.
That's like, I get the image of like a big portion of Matthew is like, oh, that's great. And then like a little portion of Matthew is like, ooh, that's unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's concerning. And then the bigger portion of Matthew is like, shh.
The other thing that you do notice before I let you guys start having a convo is that you feel a little bit better. Like you feel a little
Perkier?
Yeah. You feel like the people in the multivitamin commercial.
Oh. My skin is glowing, my heart is feeling great.
Yeah. Like that little twinge of pain that you had in your knee all day, that fades. Like it is almost as if you are drawing on someone else's life force. Slowly but surely.
This is fine.
This is fine, yeah. As long as you don't start bleeding oil, it's fine.
So yeah, I think after David leaves, there's a sort of a little bit of a change in Matthew, because Matthew is always in some ways having to perform when David is around. There's a level of like control and put togetherness that he has to be when he is around employees, when he is around those that he has power over. That is different than when he's just like with his sisters. And so there's a level of like tension release that happens also from Matthew as well. And for the first time, he shows a little bit, not like the first time ever, but the first time tonight, he shows that little bit of uncertainty, and he looks at the two of them and he says, I think that went well.
Yes, I think so.
That went beautifully. Why do you have doubts?
I mean, doing something perfectly the first time is rare.
It wasn't the first time. It was the second.
Certainly felt different than the first time. It's true. I feel more connected than I ever have to Margaret. That's not a bad thing. I'm saying it worked better. I'm just processing that. It's a good thing. Just new.
He's more a part of our family. He's been here forever. St. John has been here since before we were a part of the family. A connection's not a surprise.
No. I'm just saying it's different. It's not bad, Clara, really.
I don't think it is. But how is it different? Explain to us.
I can feel where he is, and I can feel what he knows. It is very hard to not see everything as a weapon when he is around. He is a creature of war, and that knowledge is something that seems to be flowing from him to me.
So not necessarily what he knows, but his attitude.
I would say his skill. The knowledge of what a skill set is. As if, I suppose, as if someone knew better how to lead because they did it to me. Or someone knew how to act if they did it to you. It is a muscle memory almost. It is instinctual. It's just new.
Useful.
Very. But yes, I do think it went well. And I'm glad that it was something that he wanted to do. I don't want to be someone who has to use those. I don't want to be someone who has to carve my name into the souls of those who do not want me. If I'm not a good enough leader for them to want me to lead them, then I'm doing something wrong.
I don't think you'll ever have to do that.
I don't either.
And she comes up behind him and she kind of wraps her arms around him from behind and kisses his cheek and the side of his neck.
He
You
leans
did
into the
well.
embrace. He leans into it, and there is a calm that seems to settle over him.
Bethany starts to clean up all of the ritual accoutrement and like clean it and put it away very quietly. Like they're doing that thing. She's like, I'm just gonna clean up over here and like get rid of the rest of that oil and she's just like tidying, but also like these things are now like special.
Yeah.
Because while what the thing that she is thinking to herself that she hasn't voiced is, you know, I guess there's something to this ritual magic stuff after all. It did work better. There are pieces of this do have power, but also is glad that we can sort through what is useful because we have power and what is like the extra heavy lifting that needs to be done for the people who don't. Like our own ceremonial robes are better because they are more true to who we are. We don't need big insignia robes and great mystical shadowy society things. That's not who we are and that's not what we do. But she is like slowly gathering that stuff and like putting it away with all their like occultist information.
Matthew spends a little bit of time just giving Clara some kisses because, and it's clear from sort of his body language that he's almost looking for validation. This is a thing where he is doing something that is out of his wheelhouse. Like there's a part of like, and he And both of them know that he's such a perfectionist, that this is a thing of like, he didn't do this like Papa Mal did. He didn't do this the way that like he was taught was the way to do this in a lot of ways. And so there's a level there of him kind of like doing that thing that he does with his sisters, which is very much sort of checking, because they're the only people he can trust to know things, to know, both to know that if whether or not something went well, and also to know whether or not, and to be able to trust that they'll actually tell him the truth.
Mhm.
She returns every kiss, and she remains in constant contact with him and rubbing his side and keeping him close and gently squeezing his hand. And it was beautiful. It was perfect. The only thing I wish is that I had a place in it. That I had something to swear to. And that is me being selfish and possessive and... I watched you do... We can't get married. I can't ever go in front of anything in Elysium and tell anybody out there how I feel about you. But here is power. And here is what is true. And I see you swear to and with these other people. And that is something that is real. And I am selfish and I want it, and I don't know how to. I don't know how to. I don't know how we do it because I am not your servant. And I know we aren't. We are your family. We are Van Horsts also.
You are not my lesser. I can't see you as. I love you deeply, truly. But if we ever were to do something like this, it would have to be extraordinarily different. You are no liege, you're no knight. You are my herald, you are my fellow queen. We are all royalty, the three of us. You would have to find a very different way of doing this. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but if we are to swear to each other, if you were to swear to me, it cannot be like this with them, because you are not my lesser, Clara. And as much as they are part of our family, as much as David is part of that, David is not one of us. He is a tool of ours. He has given himself over to be that tool. You're no tool. He will cup her cheek and press his forehead against hers and say, we will find a way to do this, but it can't be like the way that I have done it so far. You know your place, Clara. It's by my side, not at my feet.
You and Bethany could be rulers. Bethany for the magic and you for the power. And I could be, I don't know. Maybe I'm just the vessel for the next heir.
Is that all you see of yourself?
I don't know. If I could be at your side, if I could say words of power that meant that this was not something that we just fucking hide.
I know. Clara, I know. I love you. We'll find a way. We'll find a way.
Love you too. Was there anything in Papa's books, Bethany, about
Look at yourself and find out, Clara? You can study too. If you're worried about your words of power and you're worried about your station and you're worried about what you're supposed to do, take an active interest. Find something.
You don't have to be so harsh, Bethany.
This is not how I do magic.
I know.
And I am not a library and I am not a resource at your disposal.
Here is my question. Is there something that the three of us could do? Something that mixes what we are? Bethany, you're part of this. I know that you don't do the same type of magic.
Something up.
That's what I'm saying. We can do that. We should do that.
I'm not a part of that.
You're not a part of that, but you're part of...
This is something Clara needs. So Clara should figure it out.
It's not just something I need.
What I'm saying...
Yes, I am being...
Clara, you want to get magic married to Matthew, and that's a thing. So get magic married to Matthew. Find the thing.
Yes, I want
Say
that.
your
Because
words of power. That's what you said you wanted. He is providing you something else because you can't have what you want, which is to get down on your knees and swear to him. And that's fine. But figure it out. Figure out what you want.
But that and what we are, what our family is, and what ruling is, and what Van Horsts are, those are different things.
So figure out which one you want. And then figure out...
Is there not a way to make both happen?
I'm not getting married to our brother. So figure out which one you want and figure out how to do it.
I don't think anyone is suggesting that you get married to me, Bethany.
No.
Well, there's two different ceremonies and you're mixing them together. So be clear. I'm talking to Clara about this, Matthew. Be clear about your choice.
I don't want to mix them together.
Then which one do you want?
I want both of them. I will acknowledge that securing our power base and our family and us as a family is more important than my selfish needs that I can go drink and cry about and get over in the morning, as I have every morning for the last God knows how many years. But we are trying to leave this place. We are trying to gather our power.
Yes.
And I do believe in that. And you were a part of that. You were maybe the most important part of that. And no, you were not just a library and you were not just a researcher, but you were the one who understands. You were the first one that paved the way.
I paved the way because I'm crazy.
But you
Let's
did
be
it.
very clear about that. That is the thing that I know how to do. I know how to be lied to for my entire life about what I am and what I can do and what things I'm seeing mean, to the point that I can now use that. That is my power. The way the world has hurt me is my power. So telling me to go look at books for something for you is not something that I'm good at.
I'm sorry. I was in my feelings.
I know.
But for us, a ceremony for all of us. Something to secure what we are. If Matthew is gaining power through those that swear to him, I don't want to swear fealty. You were correct, Matthew. We are not your lessers. But we need to secure a power base. We need to secure us as family. How fucking useful would it be if we all knew where each other was? If I got pulled through to Metropolis again, or when I open this review, when I am trying to put power into Metropolis directly for all of us, being connected somehow.
Fine. Yes, I agree. It's useful. I don't want to do that in the illusion. I don't want to tie us to this place when we tie ourselves together. I do not want to be trapped here.
Why do you think that it would trap us to the illusion?
Because we are building power here. I know we can't take Metropolis now. I know there's a lot of things we don't understand. But we don't understand what we're doing here either. And if we are binding, and we are binding to each other, who knows if we're binding to where we are? I don't want to be stuck here.
Are you saying that binding to each other is... Bethany, it sounds a lot like you're saying that you don't want to be bound to us because you're worried that you can't leave us.
I don't want to leave you. I don't want you to stay here.
Neither do we. None of us want to stay here.
Then figure out the things you want and do your own research, because I can't just...
You're part of this.
Yes.
I'm not asking... I understand that things were said that there are two separate things that were asked of you. I am asking that the three of us find something to bind us together.
I'm not saying that we do it and when we get to Metropolis to rule it. I'm saying, Clara, open a fucking door. Bring us there. Let us do this ritual and then open a door back up to bring us back here. But if we do this, we should do it where it matters. Nobody asked me what I meant by it. You just assumed
I just did.
I just told you when you asked. Open a door.
I'll do it.
We'll do a thing there and open a door up and we'll come back. But I don't want to bind us in this plane.
That I'm fine with.
Okay. Thank you.
Why are you so angry at us?
Because finally something, and it's great, and it was beautiful, and you made a beautiful, great step. And then everything immediately after is concerned with this place. And how I am supposed to teach you all what to do when the only thing I can teach you to do is go mad. And that is not useful. I understand some things, but you understand just as much as I do about these rituals, Matthew.
I know. I didn't ask.
I know, but Clara didn't ask you. And Clara didn't offer to crack a book herself. And I think that you can want all the things that you want. But I think that it's very easy for the both of you to forget how terrible it is for me to be here. And I am here for you both because I love you.
We tried.
I know. I know we weren't ready, and I can't stay there, and I can't reach the Red Lady, and I can't. We are doing great things, and you are doing good works, and I am proud of you, and I want to see your magic flourish, and I hope that it is easier than mine.
I'm going to take a walk. Clara, I love you so much. And
Love
if
you too.
And I will think on what you have asked. And I will try to find a way to figure out how to do this. But I need you. I need the amazing, intelligent, vivacious, cunning woman that I love to not debase herself and call herself an incubator just so that she can fit into the box that this illusion is asking her to be. I know you are more than that, and that is why I love you. And I think that you two need to talk. And I need some time to cool off. And Bethany, you and I should talk as well at some point. And Clara, you and I should talk. But right now, I am worried that if I stay here, we're all going to just talk first. I love you both in very different ways. And I will not have any aspect of me break this apart. He will walk out the door.
Claire's gonna pour a big glass of something very alcoholic.
Mm-hmm. Beth is going to let her do all of that and leave before she does the same thing.
It's So yeah, I think that night is maybe wrapped.
That night might be.
Yeah, we can do some, like, and I'll do research. Like, I mean, Claire's probably going to dive back into
Quick moment. Can I do a quick okay check-in with everybody?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, is everybody?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. How about you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm great.
Okay.
I'm great. Matthew's so upset, but I'm great.
Yeah, I guess Claire doesn't come to bed that night.
Neither does Matthew, actually.
Oh, great. That's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. I feel like
Mhm.
Matthew legit just like, because Vegas, like, I don't think that Vegas bars like close. Like, to me checking, I've only gone to Vegas recently. And I am not the type of person who stays out that late. Yeah, I think he like straight up bar hops. Like, he's not drinking much. He's drinking enough to basically be able to be there, but like, he does not want to. He's dealing with like feeling so conflicted, and I think that the moment of when Clara said certain things hit him so hard that he's just like, I can't go back right now, because there's a lot going on in that man's head right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be an asshole.
Be awesome.
Do it.
I am going to say that is such a good setup for fucking catastrophe.
Oh, please. We're all separate?
Yes,
It's
that
so
I want
good.
time to make sure it's the worstest catastrophe.
I'm
I was
absolutely
gonna
here
say,
for that.
I know what Clara's doing.
Ooh, I want to hear.
Still go
Yeah, let's
tonight.
let's find
Okay.
out all the 3 different ways you
Yeah,
guys
all
managed to
3.
fuck yourselves, and then
Okay.
I'll make soup.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
So Claire is going to do research, which is, she has figured out how she's called power here before and how she's opened gates, which is inspiring people to be obsessed with her and to do a lot of drugs, and often at the same time.
Yeah.
So she too is going out to bars and has kind of like called a few of the girls who were in her review and is like, we're going out, we're going to go see who we can pick up and see who we can get interested, and come on, we're going to go have a good fun night. And then she's going to kind of mother hen some of the girls into a cult night where she teaches them to pick up guys, to use them, to abuse them for their tab, to get as many drugs bought as possible, and then they're all doing the drugs. And then when she gets all of them into a massive fucking awful orgy situation where everybody is fucking and everybody is high as a kite, she's gonna bathe in whatever power she can find.
I love this.
I love it so much.
That's the worst possible thing you ever could have done. Go on.
That
Okay.
she's like, all right, I know how I've called power before, and power feeds power. If I can just like get exponential power. So I've got these women who are serving me. These men are shitty. I miss drugs, even though I don't need them. Everybody likes some drugs. So let's just shove it all into a cocktail orgy slurry of trying to build power.
I would like to make a hard limit of not using slurry and orgy next to each other ever again.
It's so accurate. I'm gonna let you have that
Wow,
one.
how the fuck do you
Yeah.
people with visual imaginations handle this?
Uh-huh.
It's a wild
bad.
ride.
It's
a
fine.
wild ride.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yoy, good job, Erica, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And I will say, like, here's a consent flag thing of like, all the girls, short of the fact that they're drinking and doing drugs, any of the girls are allowed to tap out. The men they pick are kind of being victimized.
that's fine.
I'll put that flag on there, but that's kind of how Clara is doing her business with her show right now.
Yeah. Or you are creating a hunting pack,
Oh yeah, she is.
which has real strong are they harpies?
Maenads.
Yeah, there you go.
Maenads,
There you go. The
yeah.
Maenads. Yeah.
Maenads.
Powerful
Yeah.
Yeah. May or may not be Maenads.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the first time that she's picked up any sort of drug since Bethany got her clean.
Mm-hmm. Bethany is.
I'm just waiting for you to be like, Bethany does her facial care routine and goes to bed early.
No. What Bethany does is, I'm trying to remember what the quickest, like, form of communication or whatever is in the 50s. But she doesn't want to make a phone call, so I guess it's a telegram.
Yeah,
the telegrams are really shorter than she wants. But she's going to do it because a telegram, I think, because it'll be more anonymous. So there's a special home for women that the Van Horst set up a long time ago that houses some Azadevas and also houses baby Malice.
Yeah.
Checking in on the status of baby Malice because that's what she wants to do. Because she has ideas.
Are we doing like a baby sacrifice? Like, no.
Oh,
No, we're not.
No, we're not doing that because that's a hard line. We do not do harm to babies.
Thank you.
But that doesn't mean he is not, one, useful.
That's valid.
Two, to take tabs on him. And three, if we're talking about Van Horst children that we have kicking around, there's one incubating in Clara and there's one we all made together. And she is checking in on that one.
Okay. Sorry for mentioning a hard line. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, it's fine to check in on that we don't do that thing. I am happy to. Yeah, no. He's checking in because he is also a source of power, and he is also, if we're doing a thing that is binding the three of us together, that is a great magic that the three of us have done together.
Man, you're the most actually trying to be productive of the three of us, which,
I yelled at everybody and got all my feels out about the things that were said that have been grinding Bethany's teeth for weeks. And so y'all can deal with the fact that Bethany had feelings at you because she doesn't do it very often. And every time she does, it sends you both into a tailspin. And now that we have clarified the actual things that are on the table, Bethany is working on the one that she's interested in.
No, that's valid.
Yeah, no, it's great. Wow, you guys just teed me up real good, and I'm gonna need a minute to figure it out. So, I'm gonna say that that's where we're gonna stop for tonight.
Okay.
That works for me.
Because all three of those things require due consideration, and none of them are where I thought we were going to go. I am not at all mad. I am super duper pleased that you guys continually managed to make the game fantastic and yet somehow everything worse. So I am pleased as punch at these disaster ugly arcs. So...
Yeah, no, that was lovely. And I also want to say, big props to both Kate and Erica. Y'all were amazing to get to, have big feels with. Big messy feels with. Thank you so much. Y'all are great.
That did get messier than I expected it to.
Yeah,
but
it got real messy.
Bethany to be that mad about it, but there are certain things that Clara said and the way that she said them that specifically grind Bethany's teeth. It's okay.
I'm happy you did. It was good roleplay. It was good RP. It was good conflict. I want to really reiterate. I like that Clara said those things.
I do
because
too.
They were messy and real, and they felt very visceral, and I love that.
Yeah, and
no, they were, but she almost there were moments where she wanted to be it's my fault. It is what I did. Bethany's mad because of me and what I said, but it was no, I'm not going to interrupt the rants. But Clara knew. She knew. She's I done fucked up.
She didn't even really, it's just that Bethany really needs that clarity and differentiation of what Clara wants. And I think that it really proved to this point where Clara's really lost in this moment and sort of feels like she hasn't hit her power. And especially because her Bethany did pull her addiction out of her, which means that her like main thing that she thought she needed to do to have power is gone. So she is feeling lost in like how to do this thing. And then her little sister just yelled at her about it, which is not nice. Like, but I think that it was like really true and messy of like Clara being like, I don't know how to do this or what to do. And you just yelled at me to be better at a thing that I don't understand. And that's not fair, but it did spurn her to go off and do an experiment. Bethany's honestly pleased.
Oh, good. Be proud of whatever.
She is. She's like, if you come, like you could come back glowing, it'll be great.
Like Matthew's big thing with it, I think, ended up being like he knows that there is a level of resentment that like Bethany has had about his place in Clara's heart at times, and when Clara was kind of laying herself out at his feet in a way, he was like, everything that Bethany has said that I do to Clara in a bad way, like making her lesser instead of more, I'm now worried that I have done. And it happened right after he like was like, I have asked someone to literally like give up their sense of self for me, and have I done this to the woman who I love dearly already? And that the answer is kind of, my guy, that's a problem. and so like I think that having the combination of like Bethany's words and like Clara's words is why he was like, I need to take myself out of this equation right now, because right now I don't know how to make this anything but worse. And I think he's having to deal with like, I don't know how to deal with feelings right now, including my own, so I'm gonna try to figure out how to make this better, because I will fix things. Sure will. Like it was just the most toxic thing of, I'm having a lot of emotions. Guess I should leave about it. Like it's the most like toxic masculinity way of dealing with it. And I felt, like out of character level, I felt like bad about being like, I'm out. But like it made anything else that I could think of him doing was too emotionally vulnerable for me to think that he would do it. And I was like, damn.
No, it was fine. It made sense. And like, it was good because honestly, good that Bethany yelled and good that he did that, because Clara would have completely like supplicated herself and lessened herself. She wanted it. Like if it meant we could be mystically married, make me lesser. Like when you're in love and you're addicted to somebody and you're obsessed with somebody.
I almost went with it.
Messy. Oh, it's so messy.
With like the idea of like, I almost went with it, but then I like was thinking back on like some of the other conversations that he's had with both Clara and Bethany, and I was like, I don't think he can do it to Clara.
No, this is better. This is
not
great.
in the sense of
Clara's not enough.
Yeah,
Clara's all hormones right now. Hormones and jealousy.
But yeah, no, I love you guys.
Yeah, no, that was good.
Well, on a technical level, the reason why Matthew leaving worked is because when he left, there was plenty of conflict between the other two characters. Because as usual, we passed the hell out of the Bechdel test. So it's not like Matthew goes, I walk out of the room and now all of the conflict energy is gone because all of it is looped around me. Like Matthew walked out and then went, anyway. Yo mama. And so like
I can always trust that like everybody holds their weight in conflict. Like all three of us are very good at that, and I always have been appreciative of you guys always leaning into that.
Yeah, good times, everyone.
Good times. Thank you so much.
This is going to be a perfect time to introduce some new villains.
No, I'm very excited about what's going to happen. I've been
sitting on for a while, so I think this is going to be a great moment to ramp up the story. So whenever you are watching this, mark your calendar because we'll see you soon. All right.
Bye.
Bye. everybody.